Hello, James here. I'm gonna start with that, and I'm gonna go take you to some pointers. All right, Dan.
I want to talk about the passport bros and the ones that think they're gonna make it a career on YouTube, and they think that's gonna be their come up by getting on a plane and flying to other countries and showing off, the different type of ladies and things like that, right? Now, first, I just want to say that people been actually doing that for a very long time, right? So the passport bro may be a new term, but people have been flying to these countries and doing this for a very long time. A lot of Pan-Africans have been flying to Africa, showing off Africa for a very long time. So the new passport bros that decide that Brazil's no longer the spot, it's probably still the spot, but you have the new flavor of the month, right? Dominican Republic is way too hot, right? The Philippines is too far for a lot of them. Thailand is too played out, it's too old, the Africa's like the new place. But the thing about Africa is, in Africa, women, good women, right? And I'm talking about the passport bros that want to have fun. I'm talking about the young ones, the ones that actually watch Austin Hollerman and those other ones. Like, because if you're watching Austin Hollerman at his age, then that means you're under him, right? That means you're just now. And if you're inspired by Austin Hollerman to go do the same thing, then I'm talking to you, right? Because you would be the inexperienced traveler, right? And the thing is, Africa is a different beast when it comes to the women, because in Africa, the women culturally hold themselves to a certain esteem, right? So if you're going over there trying to look for the sex spots, because that's what the young cats are doing, looking for the sex spots, where the hoes at, right? If you go over there with your camera to almost any country in Africa, and you start to do that, you will be looked at as a person who is exploiting the women, period. That's what's gonna happen, right? And the thing is, if you don't have, and if you think YouTube's gonna pay you a bunch of money, they may. If you have charisma, if you may look good. But keep in mind, even you yourself as a passport bro, right? If you don't have if you don't have more talent than just you showing people that there's ladies here, then your YouTube career will be very short. No matter how much success you have immediately, your YouTube career will be very short, because at some point, dudes gonna get tired of just seeing you as a dude going around supposedly banging all these chicks, right? With no actual proof, right? Just your word for it, and maybe a lady sitting next to you. So unless you can bring more value to your content, unless you can go to these countries and not only show the women, but show the cultural side of the women, show the wholesome side of women, show why you think that the women in Africa are better quality or a better fit for the African American woman than the ones in America. Because the thing is, if you ain't got no game in America for the black women, then if you ain't got enough game to pick up a black woman in America, you ain't got enough game to pick up a black woman in Africa, period, right? And paying for it don't count, all right? Trust me, paying for it don't count. False clout don't count. None of that count. You got to have some charisma, you got to have some game, and you got to have some respect for the women of Africa. As a Pan-African, I'm like an ambassador. So when I go to Africa, when I talk about Africa, I'm talking about the good side. I'm showing a level of respect. And it's my job to make sure that young, horny African Americans don't go over there and ruin the reputation of African Americans who've been going over there trying to do real work. And there's some African Americans going over there looking for real wives, looking for real quality women from various African countries to wipe up, to take care of, to build a family and foundation. If you're going over there and you just want to get your little stick wet, that is gonna be it. Now you can do that, but don't kiss and tell, because there's a reason why they say don't kiss and tell. Because if you walk around and you're posting it on YouTube and you're embarrassing, you're exploiting the women, you're gonna look like a dirty lollipop on the ground, right? As sweet as you is, you're still dirty, all right? And I always make this reference: the dirty lollipop on the ground is something that was made to be sweet, but after some while, after being all over the place, it's disgusting and nasty. So you as a man can start to look like a dirty lollipop laying on the ground as you expose yourself to woman after woman after woman after woman on the internet for potentially millions of people to see. They will see that you're not serious. And once they see that you're not serious, your reputation will precede you whenever you go. And then people don't want to have nothing to do with you. And when people don't want to have nothing to do with you, your YouTube career will be over. All right? And if you have, like I said, if you can't add any value, then it's a dead mission, right? If you go there and you start disrespecting a woman or making the women look like they're some sort of prize, because remember, when you go to these countries and you talk about the women in these countries, there's also men in those countries that take pride in their women, and some of them will probably have a problem with you disrespecting their women or using their women as a toy or a plaything instead of coming over there and being respectful as you should be when trying to truly and honestly date women. All right, you have to show these women a level of respect. Look, if you're gonna go to Thailand, if you're gonna go outside of the black community and you're gonna get your stick wet and play with all these other ones, okay. But when you're talking about Africa, you're talking about you being in our community. You're going back to the motherland. You got to show the motherland a certain level of respect. You got to show our black women a certain level of respect. Because if you can't, if you're the type of person that goes to Africa and you judge and you categorize women and you judge them and you do all these things to the black women in Africa, that also goes to show that you were doing the same thing in America, and you're probably not the type of person that should even have a black woman either in America or in Africa. Because like I said, if you disrespect the African American women, right, in America, and you think you're gonna go over there and you get one that's gonna be different, well, guess what? Those black women over there are the same black women over here. They just have a different culture. All right. So like I said, if you don't have charisma, if you don't have respect, if you're going over there to think you're gonna get your stick wet and you think YouTube gonna pay you for it, trust me, your career will be very short, because YouTube is either gonna not pay you, not push your content, or somebody's going to cash in your 401k in one of these countries because they're getting tired of African-American, young, youthful dudes going over and disrespecting any woman. And I'm just saying, because I'm starting to see a bunch of copycats going over there, and I'm not talking about Austin Hollerman. I'm not, like, talking about him per se. I'm talking about the other ones that's looking at Austin Hollerman, and now they're hopping on planes going to Africa. I'm talking about the other ones that decided, hey, let's shift ourselves to Africa because Austin Hollerman shifted to Africa, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Because you guys can create an environment that's toxic, and you can mess it up for all the African Americans who want to go over there and actually do something. Because there's a lot of African Americans that's bringing true value, you know, when they go there. They're showing the culture for real, not just some skirts, right? Not just a skirt with some culture to it, not just various different skirts, you know, because that gets old real quick. You understand? That flavor of the month changes quickly, and like I said, no one wants to actually stare at a dude who's going on repetitive dates and never actually bunning one up. The goal when looking for a woman, the goal with dating is to find one that's suitable to marry. That's literally the point. The goal when dating is to find a woman suitable to marry, and that's the point. If you want to get your stick wet, more than likely you should shut your mouth and not say it, because it may seem cool and chic right now, but keep in mind, Africa is not America. And a lot of you brand spanking new travelers, ones who ain't never been there, been nowhere, you ain't got your passport, you ain't done nothing, trust and believe. Kissing and telling can be very dangerous. Kissing and telling can be very dangerous. So if that's what you're going to do, be very tactful and mindful about how you act and you treat people in these countries, because this is not America. You don't have no American privilege when you go to these other countries. When you're in that country, you follow their rules. When you're in that country, you follow their customs. When you're in their country, you respect their women. Just plain and simple. The same way you will want someone to come to your house and respect your sister, respect your mother, okay? Respect your daughter. That type of stuff, okay? Because if somebody from another country came into your community and made videos about how they was running through all the girls in your community, disrespecting the girls in your community, guess what? You're going to want to see them. You and your homies going to want to see them because it would have gotten out of hand. You understand? So for all you prospective passport bros that think YouTube is going to be your big come up, all you got to do is get on a plane and go to Africa and exploit women. Guess what? It's a dead mission. If you can't add value, don't waste your time, because it can turn out very bad for you very quickly. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Don't miss Kohl's Black Friday deals. Score kitchen faves for $13.49 with coupon.
Mr. Fuller, please have a seat.
There's a reason why I'm playing this video.
Have you ever attended
There's
meetings
women over in
affiliated with the
Africa.
Communist Party?
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, it's Nagara. Thank you for coming. As you can see in the studio, we have the guest, and her name is
Natkunda Esther, and I'm a content creator YouTuber. Of course,
an official co-host of this channel. Guys, please don't forget to check out her links. They will be in the bio. Check out our platforms.
Yes.
Yeah, on YouTube.
On YouTube, Esinatkunda on Instagram, Esinatkunda, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, in today's video, it's been a long time since we talked about this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about regularly because it happens like now
Yeah.
more often than it used to. And guys, it's about the passport bros. Like I talked about this in previous videos, and I'm so strong on that. Like I always encourage, if you are wherever you are outside the African continent and you're like not getting what you need, come to the African continent. Yeah. Hopefully you can get someone. You can be a man, you can be a woman. Yeah.
But not like this guy.
Guys, watch this clip, come back, and let's talk about it.
It does feel good to take a break from Africa for a bit. I love the food, love the weather, the people, but all that begging, man, everywhere you go, somebody trying to scam you. Women ain't got no money. I mean, some of them do, but the majority of them don't have no money. Every now and then they trying to hit you with a okie doke and try to get $60 here, $60 there. You need to pay for your Uber. Africa is not as cheap as it seems. Once you start living there, you start actually seeing it's really not that cheap, especially if you're gonna be single. It's not cheap at all, so it feels good to take a break. My bank account take a break too.
I was watching this video, and I watched it several times because I'm like, wait a minute. And I thought to myself, this gentleman got into a plane, he packed his clothes, got a car to take him to the airport, got into a plane, arrived in this country, and he interchanges between Africa and Kenya, which again, that's like a whole other thing. But anyway, and then goes out to the world and complains as to how expensive the rituals of dating and courtship are in Kenya. And I thought to myself, sir, didn't you do your homework? Didn't you study? Didn't you find someone who is indigenous to Kenya and who will teach you some of these things? Or did you go with your full chest of privilege and your American dollars and thought that you would have a completely different outcome? He then goes on to emphasize a confirmation bias by saying how poor the country is because women are always asking for Uber money. Sir, nobody has told you about dowry. Nobody has told you about how women will not go 50-50. That is not our culture for the most part. In fact, you're even lucky. You haven't met these women that you're dating, their family, who will ask you for crazy, outrageous things. But the thing is this, I think what sort of ties everything for me is that he doesn't really understand. And I think this is part of this movement that I've been reading about passport bros, is understanding that wherever you go, wherever you take your physical body to, you are the common denominator in all these countries. And so there is no, if you can't survive in your own country and be able to build meaningful connections, do you honestly think that you're going into another country, in another continent, that you are going to have different results? Like, help me. Like, does this even make sense to you?
Guys, as I said in the video, that is a passport bro, and he was actually complaining that Africa has cheap women, has expensive women, Africa is poor, everyone is begging money. And then people don't want to pay for their Uber rides. I don't know, maybe he meant that women don't want to pay for their Uber rides because they don't have money, they are poor.
We won't get into that, sir.
So, like I said, as a person who was encourages you guys to come into the continent, I feel in some sort that you think when you come to the continent, it's going to be a different experience for you not to spend as much as you thought you were spending in the countries that you came from.
Yeah, this is the problem that I think in particular African American passport bros, the black men that come to Africa as passport bros, you guys really think that, oh, in America, these black women, they do not want to respect us. They do not want to submit to us. Still at the same time, they are the women that you want to do 50-50 with, even if you want all the benefits of a provider.
Yeah.
I call it entitlement because you guys are entitled to, I think, a softy life from women.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no. These men, I think they are expecting, oh, give me your all, but you must be cheap still at the same time.
Maybe they also give their all. That's why they want the all of you also.
Or not this man saying African women are cheap, but still they're expensive. They cannot pay for their Uber drives. This is the problem. You guys leave America and then you come to Africa.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, as an American, if I come with $1,000, you guys think that's a lot of money? It must be able to feed an African woman for a year, according to this man. I don't think he was here to look for genuine connections with people.
Yeah.
How can you say women do not want to pay for their Uber rides? Excuse me.
Yeah. He actually said that it's more expensive if you're single, meaning because you're single, you need to meet women.
Yeah.
And then if you have to meet women, that means you have to spend.
Yeah. So this man literally thinks that when he wants to go out with a lady should pay for her taxi. You must bring yourself and take yourself back. And when we reach the table, we order what to eat. We are going to split the bill. This man clearly did not do research about what happens in Africa. We expect men. From generations and generations, African men are providers. So the moment you come and you want to explore relationships or dating in Africa, you must educate yourself first when it comes to those matters. We don't do 50-50 here. A lady is a lady. You don't go out and say, oh, but she does not want to pay for her Uber. How? You want to know her. She's a queen. Now this is why I say it's a problem. They fail to treat black American women like queens. And they say, I'm gonna give the queen treatment to African women. You left women, you failed to give them good treatment. And you come here, and here it's even exploitation because they think African women are cheap.
But one thing I must add on is, you to get on a flight, having had an experience that you've not got somebody that is good for you in whatever country that you came from, to come to, let's say for this incident, Uganda or Kenya or Tanzania or any African country, you shouldn't expect to have the same cultural backgrounds in this incident, because like the way I saw him say African women are too cheap. They don't always have money. They are poor.
Yeah.
Meaning he is coming from a country where women have money.
Yes. Yeah. They are used to black American women.
Yeah.
African American women. She does her makeup. Rare beauty is expensive.
Yeah.
She does her. Oh, she's gonna pay for her gas and drive to the date.
Yeah.
But he wants to find that as well in Africa. So what is the meaning of you being a passport bro when you even fear spending? Why didn't you stay back home and do the 50-50?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense actually.
Yeah, he wants benefits of 1 million but putting in $1. Doesn't work like that.
That is not okay.
Yeah, if that's what he wants, stay back home. Deal with 50-50 where the ladies are gonna do their makeup and drive to you and still pay half the bill. Here, I will ask you to pay my Uber. Did I hit on myself? No, you are a man. Yeah, pay when I reach there so I can see if it goes any further than this. This person is gonna be able to take care of me.
Yeah.
Yes, you must adjust to the situation of the country where you are coming, not them to adjust to yours.
Yeah, especially if you're looking for like genuine relationships. You know, this is something that I also want to put out. Don't expect that just because you are in the African continent that things are going to be easy and cheap for you. Because him complaining about is not as cheap as you might think. That means he came with a mindset that, oh, I'm going to Africa, it's cheap, it's poor, there's nothing there that is worth something for me to worry about. And then to his surprise, everything is different.
And I'm actually thinking that passport bro must be poor. If you can cry over $60, me as a Ugandan, I can't cry over $60. You must be poor. Really?
Yes.
Maybe he's tired of giving people $60 here and there.
If you cry about Uber, which is $12, you are poor. You brought your poverty to Africa expecting it to be poorer. Now you got a shock.
Yeah,
of your
that
life
actually, that also brings in the stereotype that he came with a mindset or a stereotype that Africa is poor.
Yes.
So he's going.
Everything must be cheap.
Yeah, so he's going to enjoy more, and everything is cheap, like you said. Guys, we are not trying to dislike this passport bro, but the way he made the way he explained things, like it's not okay. And then he made it also seem like he was forced to stay here, he was forced to be here. I mean, I'm gonna leave Africa for now, I'm gonna take a break from Africa, it's too much poverty. Like, no one forced you to come in the first place.
Made your decision to come to Africa still. Seeing how poor it is. If you saw poverty in Kenya, you should have said, this is it for me. But you went to Ghana, you went to Uganda. The moment you should have seen poverty, you must have left.
Yeah.
But you're still here.
Meaning it's benefiting you in some way or the other. If it makes sense.
And he has gone to all these countries.
Yeah, I've forgotten his name, but I've seen him go to different African countries. And so if you have seen different cultures in those countries, I'm pretty sure you have a big picture of what to expect.
Yeah.
But if you're still not comfortable and you're not okay in the continent, you can go back home. Like, it's not a forced thing. And if you're not here to really be serious, don't complain. Why are you complaining? You're killing it for the real, genuine passport bros. It makes it seem like they are all the same. When in fact they are not. I've seen a few, or actually many, passport bros tagging me in their videos on TikTok, on Instagram, like, hey, I'm with my Ugandan lady, we've been together 10 years, 7 years, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
I have this customer.
If you put a bad name on them, it's just not okay. Yeah, guys, that was it for us in this video. Let us know what you think about this. We are not judging, but we are not accepting this kind of behaviors, and we are not accepting these kinds of men that are just coming to hit and run, just coming to have fun and then complain about the experience. Like, what do you expect? If you're not serious, no one is going to take you serious. And for those that are really good passport bros, guys, we really appreciate that you're coming in the continent to get the African women and not to diss or disrespect Black American women, because I do respect them. Actually, I admire who they really are. I wish I had that confidence they have. I'm trying to learn from them. So I also appreciate them. So this channel is known to put African American women down and act like we are praising the passport bros in any sense, but just to bring awareness that if you're not serious about having real connections in the African continent, man or woman, don't get on the internet and complain. Any last words?
The last words, much respect to the African American women, because when I see videos like this passport bro, I go like, God, you must be putting up with a lot.
Guys, that was it for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and follow me on my social media platforms as well as Esther.
Of course, the links are going to be in the description box. We love you so much for watching.
We'll see you. Bye.
The reason why I played that, because Austin have done this before, and I'm a big firm believer. Before you go to the continent of Africa, get to know some people here from the continent of Africa. Talk with them. Get to know the do's and the don'ts. Just like that one brother, the first brother said, man. And now, he just made it bad because he did the similar thing like this, and he did this like this in Brazil, and pissed off a Brazilian woman down there. You got it. And I heard Skylar trying to get on him, like, you can't do that. When you go to these countries, you gotta know how to respect these women. You just can't be filming stuff like that and then turn back around. And that's why I said a lot of Americans. That's why I said you get to talk with people here. If you can't get to talk with people here, it ain't no sense of you going over there. And and murmuring and complaining, then putting it. And the bad thing about it, he put it on the internet. that everybody have seen him complaining. And just like the brother said, people see that, and now if you ever go back to the continent ever again, it's not going to be pretty present. He didn't use no wisdom at all. There's certain things you shouldn't do something like that. Do it in a small setting. But when you get on a national one like YouTube and you tell something like that, other people and even people from the continent is going to be watching. And that's kind of like the brother was saying, you insulting the women. And just like he was saying, like, how would you feel if someone came over to your spot and did that, and it was a bunch of African men or any other men that did the same thing? You would want to go see him in disrespect. And he's absolutely right. And I agree with him on that. You have to learn to be respectful when you go to someone's country. And really, basically, the mannerism is to learn it at home. That's why. So if you meet people here and get into the agreement here, it gives you a better idea. So your mannerism will know, and understanding will know. So when you go over to the continent, you have an idea. A lot of people travel and they go over there and they don't have no proper mannerism, like they do. And it's something you can't go over there and just, because people are gonna take that kind of personal, and which they rightfully show. I'd be kind of mad too. You come over to my country and talk about my women like that. Yeah, I understand. Even though regardless of what you think. And see, you just gave. Now there are gonna be black women from America that see that, take that video, and Austin just made it harder for passport bros. This is the second time he did that. That he did that before. It was a big, people had his back and like, hey man, y'all being unfair on him. But this time, and I wanted to play that video because the brother was getting advice, like, what is he talking about? And just as he was laying it out, that's why I played the second video, because this is something that what he did recently. You can't go over there doing that. It's a whole different culture, man. And I'm like, if you can meet somebody at school or you work with, talk with some people from Africa, man. And that give you, and don't just talk with one. Talk with some people that they give you insight, the do's and the don'ts, man. So you won't go over there blind and ignorant. I'm just saying, and I think some people, just because you have the money, I'm a big firm believer in that. You must learn proper mannerism and ways here, so when you go over there, and this is to any country in the world, and so you won't get caught up in some things, and it can literally cost you your life. And so that would be the best advice. Just because you have the money to travel, don't give you the right to be ignorant like that. Ignorance no excuse. And insulting someone's country, yeah, that's pretty messed up. But that's the reason why I play that. Now that's it's gonna hit some one of these people is gonna get a hold of him, man. Someone need to talk to this young man. Watch what you filming. Watch what you're putting out there, especially on YouTube, where it's a national platform, where it's other people around the country, including parts of Africa where you've been at. They take that stuff really, really offensive over there. The men might come see you. I'm serious. And that's true. But I saw that, and I said, yeah. And if you go over there, just be respectful, man. Just be respectful, and don't be so candid cheat. But I just wanted to show you this video. But yeah, so, and that was some good advice what he said. You come over here in the hope, try to find a wife, man. But if you're gonna date, don't, like he said, hey, but some countries you can't just stick and dip. Because, that's, some people take that very seriously. And then they don't want to dishonor, and some men have done that before, and dishonor. And honor and dishonor is a big thing in some of these cultures too. So that's why they have the way they do. So when you coming over there to their culture, and you don't want to have that type of reputation, man, because there might be some legitimate guys, man, that they're coming over there for the right reasons, and now they think that you want these Americans are coming over there and come to get it and hit it and quit it. But Austin, he needed to use some wisdom. He needed to use a lot of wisdom, and I hope someone kind of like give him the 411. So if this video get out to somebody, like somebody needs to sit down and really talk to him, because you can't be doing that. And then that hits the radio. That hits the air. There's women willing to give you your time, and it's anything. If you're traveling over there, you gotta figure that it's a different situation over there. The currency, the income, and everything. So don't come over there like an arrogant, Western ass person. Because because I've seen a couple people do that before. Come over and talk about those people like a dog. They can't help but to live in a situation that they're in. Because if you don't, you can end up like this situation.
At Donna's, you can get more than just amazing, delicious pizza. There's also lava cakes, bread bites, and more.
You gotta be careful where you're going. I'm gonna show you this video.
It is October 2nd, 2023, and this is a news update on the story of the American that was found dead 2 days ago in Medellin, Colombia. Follow along.
You're watching DC-born Rob, Racing Borders, and now, news.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located. Thanks for watching. You're watching DC-born Rob, Racing Borders. I'm DC Rob. I'm actually currently on the road. I'm in Washington, D.C., but I got an update on this story, and I wanted to pass this on right away, as well as another story of an Australian that was shot. So let's jump into the first story. And this first update is from Minuto Trente. More details of the foreigner found dead in a hotel in El Poblado. The foreigner was found dead on his birthday in a bathtub in a hotel room. On the afternoon of October 31st, the foreigner was found dead in a hotel in El Poblado, Medellin. The foreigner found dead was identified as Johnny Jerome, 45 years old and of American nationality. The foreigner would have stayed in a hotel in the Provenza sector, where he was with two women of Venezuelan nationality. Jerome was accompanied also by his cousin, who was also in the hotel room. The cousin revealed to the authorities that when the women left, the foreigner entered a bathroom drinking alcohol. This man proceeded to fall asleep, and on Halloween afternoon, the man discovers Jerome in the bathtub lifeless. The authorities continue to investigate the events. Okay, so there's also an update from El Colombiano, and I like to do two stories or read two different sources anyway, because some stories have some events that aren't in the other. So let's jump into this one. Again, this one's from El Colombiano. An American was found dead in a bathtub in a hotel in Provenza. This is what is known. The victim was celebrating his birthday in the city, and one of his relatives found him dead inside this establishment. The American Johnny Jerome, after traveling the world, decided to celebrate his 45th birthday in Medellin, for which he decided to have a party inside a nightclub and later rent one of the most luxurious rooms in the hotel in the Provenza sector. However, in the middle of the celebration, he appeared dead in the hotel bathtub. The discovery of the body of this foreigner was recorded this Tuesday morning on Carrera 36 and Calle 10 in this sector of Comuna 14, El Poblado, after a cousin who was staying with him entered the bathroom because he saw the floor of the room flooded. Upon entering, he found Johnny's lifeless body in the bathtub water, where he informed the hotel staff. The hotel's rescue agencies went to the room to try to save this man's life, but found that he no longer had vital signs, so they called the authorities. According to reports, this man, born in New York on Halloween 1978, arrived in Medellin with his cousin on Sunday, and a day later went to a nightclub where they stayed until 3 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday. From there, they went with two women to the hotel room where they chatted until dawn. Police reports indicated that the two women who were with these foreigners left the hotel around 5 a.m. in the morning, and only 5 hours later, the body of this Haitian, who turned 45 on Wednesday, was found. The CTI agents of the prosecutor's office carried out this inspection of the lifeless body of the foreigner, and the causes of the death remain to be established, since no apparent signs of violence were found. So I'm not sure why in this story no one's mentioning scopolamine, and it was in the first story. It could be that the girls left. It could have been mentioned to the police, and it could have been that the girls left and they didn't drug two guys. So obviously, if only one got drugged, then and the other person didn't, they weren't able to rob. So that could be part of the story, but I'm just reading into it. There's just not enough information right now. The first story mentioned it. I'm not sure if they did test or not, but these two stories, the follow-up and this one from another source, does not mention it. So it's left up to our imagination at this point. Guys, you have to be careful of twos. You got to be careful of one, really. Anybody can get got again. But two, definitely keep it moving. But there's also another story that was just passed on to me also, that at the Oviedo Mall, which is a mall, the one that has that big apple, the big tree apple that's out front of it on 43rd, an Australian was shot during a robbery. It looks like he fought back, so I want to jump into this story right now. An Australian was injured apparently while avoiding being robbed in Medellin. The events were recorded in the El Poblado neighborhood of the city. An Australian citizen was shot in the abdomen when he apparently resisted the robbery of several individuals at the entrance of the Oviedo shopping center in the El Poblado neighborhood of the city. Zachary Thomas Barradell, 36, was injured in the events. After the events, he was taken by taxi to the Las Vegas clinic where he was admitted to surgery. According to the authorities, with the support of the LPR cameras, the police units were able to identify the motorcycle and possible perpetrators who apparently, after committing the violent action, was able to change their clothes. Okay, so again, just make sure you have a few low dollar, a 2 mil peso, 5 mil peso, money ready to go. Just here, hand it to them. Whether it's fake money, real money in low denominations, a fake credit card or an old credit card or somebody else's old credit card, or fake credit cards. I need to check and see if you can actually buy fake credit cards. But just have something ready to go, in other words. And whatever, if you're wearing some type of jewelry, just give it up. Just be prepared for this to happen. I always refer to the girl on the bus. She was prepared. When she saw the guys hop on the bus, she switched that and pulled her fake phone out or her old phone out and was, you just, what's going on? I mean, she was smooth about it. So just be prepared. This stuff could pop out of nowhere. Anyway, you can do all the right things and still get got. So move properly, guys. Follow the rules that are out there and mitigate. That's the name of the game. Mitigation. Okay, do the best you can to make sure these things don't happen to you. Okay, they're always, again, going after the weakest link. So if they see 10 people out in public and one of you guys is drunk, guess who they're going after? Because you visibly, go back to the story that I just did with the interview that I just did with Carlton. They can watch you and see that you're visibly intoxicated. So there's the mark right there. If there's 10 cars on a street and one of them has the door unlocked, guess which one gets robbed first? Same thing with homes. 10 homes on a block and one person didn't lock their door, guess which house gets robbed first? The weakest link. Mitigation, guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Make sure you travel, but travel safe.
Thank you very much.
good advice. And to get drunk out there, and it's been a lot of this stuff coming down out of Medellin, Colombia. There's been people. He had one said there's been like 400 robberies and 40 people have passed away down there. So, and I think what it is guys is meeting women on them Tinder dates, and they're getting set up down there. So you got to be careful who you meet. And then the best way I've heard one man say is to get with a group of people and meet people through groups of people, because when you meet people off the street, you don't know where they come from, especially if you're not really familiar with the language and anything. If your Spanish ain't up to par and you don't have no type of street discernment, and because you could get hemmed up down there, for what I see. And he's reported about 5-6 stories about this. But you know you have to use some wisdom when you travel. You can't be a passport pookie. And you got people going over there. People say how some people go over there wearing jewelry. Why do you have to showboat in another country like that? You know, they just come out and they make themselves like a target. And there's been guys have been robbed. So when you travel, man, use some some of these people need to use some wisdom. Realize you can't do certain things. Just like when you go to certain cities, you don't know that city. If you go, let's say you from a little small town in Virginia, you go to New Orleans, you don't know what New Orleans, the environment, its atmosphere, you don't know that environment. So you got to take precaution. If you go, to Detroit or Chicago or Baltimore, you have to use some wisdom. A lot of people, and that's the same thing, that the same wisdom people need to exercise when they go to another country. Especially you go to some place like Medellin, and it's heard a couple of incidents out of Cartagena down there in that city. And then I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was Sasua, and remember people were staying in this resort, and about 10 people came back deceased. And this was in the DR. Man. And places like certain places it was once some resort down there in the DR that they were all these middle-aged couples going down there, and they wouldn't wake them back up. And you have to be careful where you go. And it was some other stuff that I've heard that happened in the places the Colombia and that DR. I don't know what it's about those places. Even some places in Mexico, I'd be leery to go about. I mean, it's like, shoot. I mean, I think about it, maybe that's why most of the people in Mexico come over here. Because there's some of the things that happen over there. It's crazy. It's a whole different environment. You get the food and the good-looking women, but is it worth your life, man? And then spiritually, you don't know where these people are coming from. You don't know the atmosphere, the environment, territories, and you don't know the language really well. That's the big thing. If you don't know the language, you shit out of luck. That's why it's good to. I heard guys traveling said it's good to learn the language. I see why it's good to learn the language, so you know what's going on. And some guys that do travel blogs, they do that. But yeah, Austin need to use some wisdom. All of it, he need to use some wisdom, and he should. Because I remember Skyler talked to him about that. He told me, you messed up, right? And he tried to school him, man. He's down. The Skyler is the guy. He's retired Air Force guy. He's a young man like yourself. He tried to tell him how how the way it is. So someone just get a hold of this is going out. It's gonna give the women ammunition to talk about the passport bros. Now they got her video. So now you just gave the women, Austin Hollerman gave these women more ammo. Say, see, that's what they doing over there. Da, 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 da. So anybody is his friend, whatever, y'all need to talk to him. Y'all, and this is what the first brother said. When you go over to these countries, you got to show some respect. And I believe that, man. Luckily I've been around people here from them countries that's here. But if I have a passport. And if I do, I know the mannerism, and that's because I met them through church, and that's how. Or you just meet some people because of church or some kind of work setting or social setting like that. But you can't. And ask people, talk to people, get the feel for the environment. Especially if you go around a bunch of people, like if you go around people who speak Spanish and they're from different Guatemala, Mexico, and Honduras and all these different places. If you go around them, if you're in America and you go to their church, so if you ever get a chance to go to their country, you have an idea on how to conduct yourself and do's and not to do. And the same way you go around from people from Africa or Russia or any of these other countries. I think when you go into the setting, learn to give them the respect if you're a single man or single woman. So when you go over there, you'll be prepared. But a lot of people, I think, travel for the first time. They're not used to that. And I think if they would have learned how to learn to adapt with people here and make friends with people here, so they give you the 411 on what to do and not to do over there, and take their advice. And so mannerism and respectability begins at home. But what he's been doing is not very respectable, and he's making some men look bad traveling. So, hey, I ain't trying to hate on the young man, whatever, but hey, he's setting himself up. You don't kiss and tell all your business, especially on the mainstream when it's like half the world is watching YouTube. You don't do that, man. People gonna be watching, and people share video, and now it's got back to them. So next time, if he decides to go back to the continent of Africa, those different African women from Uganda, they're gonna see what kind of person he is, and they gave the best advice. Hey, this is the way we do stuff over here. If you don't, we don't want to force you to come over and do that, but you can't go down and do something like that. You do have to have some type of respect, and if you ain't gonna pay for somebody, then don't do it. But what he just did was give some black women in America, see, that's what kind of stuff we gotta deal with the men over here. You just gave them ammunition, Austin. You just gave them ammunition to keep hating on the passport bros. Now it's gone out. So anybody's a black gentleman or a gentleman pair that's traveling, you better do some talking to him. Tell him not to kiss and tell all the time, because you kiss and tell, that's what's gonna happen. So they put him on blast, and that's why I played that one brother's video, because he's telling you what to do and what not to do. That there's a different society over there, and that's true, and it made a lot of sense. You can't do the same thing like you do over there. And just like the women had to find out, American women had to find when they went over there, American men are going to find out. You can't do the same thing they do over there. That's a different system, a different society. And then you can bring shame and embarrassment. They take that stuff really serious in some cultures. and you know, you can make it really bad. You don't want to bring shame to another culture. And that's why I say talk with people here. They'll give you more insight on that. So if you ever travel, use some wisdom. Go to like a social setting, fair, festival. You have some friends you go to school with, work with, go to church with, from different parts of the country. It's bilingual. You and sit back and watch. You learn. That's the best way to learn. So when I do decide to get the funds up for travel, I'll learn from him. Don't do that stuff. Don't go and complain and tell, even if it's something that it's not the norm that you over here. Don't murmur and complain on someone else's country. Some things you don't like, hey, because people are watching and people know English, so it's gonna get back to them. So alright then, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. So Austin.
Hello. How you doing? James here. Well, I got something to show you from what happened over there in Israel.